Hi everyone, my name is Adriana de Santiago, and this mini lecture is pretty much a small idea that you can incorporate into your classroom during the first days of school or the first week of class as higher ed instructors. So I figured that as future instructors, an initial way to try and accommodate my students and incorporate a variety of techniques during instruction and lesson planning is by getting to know their learning style preference. So through a couple of activities and introducing my students through a mini lecture on Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, I think it would be a creative way to get students to introduce themselves to their peers, to the instructor, and at the same time get info on the best way they learn, not just through verbally having them get up and introduce themselves, but through a visual and in a creative way. So this lecture has three objectives, two for the student and one for the instructor. So first, the student will be able to identify and explain which of Gardner's 8 intelligence areas they relate with and learn best. And second, students will self-evaluate and reflect on interests and traits. So through these two objectives, for example, the first one is through a reflection assignment. I created a link that they can cut and paste to their search engine and take a quiz to see under which of 8 of Gardner's intelligence they fall into and how they learn best. And so then the student will have to reflect on it, like, is it relatable to them? Are the results accurate to the way they do learn? Was it useful? Did they learn anything new about that because through the test that they took? And the second activity, it's a collage, a self collage, introducing which intelligence they relate to, what's their learning preference, and a little bit about themselves. So with this lesson and with these activities, not only would the student be able to self-evaluate, but the instructor will get to know their students creatively, and like I mentioned before, they'll be able to utilize the information acquired by incorporating it into lesson planning and instructional tools. Howard Gardner theory encompasses 8 areas of intelligence. He challenged the traditional way of measuring intelligence, which is mostly through logical and linguistic areas, and is mostly done through IQ testing. However, he believes that intelligence varies and is not narrow to just those two specific areas. He also states that people learn in different ways, and he came up with 8 categories. So Gardner is currently, and his professional career has always been at Harvard University, where he also received all his education for his PhD and master's, MBA, and so on. So most of his professional and educational background is based on Harvard University. He is from Pennsylvania, and he has created multiple books, written multiple books, and done multiple research, and he continues to do multiple research. And besides just being a professor, he is a member of many other areas of educational and psychological development and human development. So Gardner has 8 types: the naturalistic, linguistic, visual, spatial, kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and logical. So the visual is with spatial. So these students usually, excel at shapes, they use pictures, they love observing, they organize information in color coded, they easily visualize information and like to draw and doodle. The auditory person is able to remember sounds and music and info when they listen to it. They prefer like audiobooks. They rather do stuff through verbal presentations. They like lectures and speeches, and they're very good listeners. So that's more like on the musical intelligence. And for the verbal and linguistic, it's pretty self-explanatory. They prefer using words and speech and writing. They prefer to read and write. They usually have large vocabularies, and they are not nervous to just stand up and speak their mind. For the kinesthetic, it's more like physical. They learn through hands-on. They learn better by doing, and they enjoy being physically active in their learning environment. Now, for the logical and mathematical, it's for persons who like to reason. They pretty much enjoy math and science. They like to problem solve. They like facts, and so that's what they relate to, and that's what they gear to. And for the social aspect of it is the interpersonal. So this individual likes working with others. They're good in working in groups. They know how to communicate and collaborate. They're typically good listeners, thoughtful and understanding. They know how to be team players. Whereas when it comes to the intrapersonal, this is more solitary. They prefer doing independent work, working alone. They enjoy quiet places. They're in tune with their thoughts and feelings and work best independently. And finally, the naturalistic one is a person who enjoys outdoors experiments, or they just prefer being in the open and not confined to a classroom. So these intelligence can help a student identify which way they learn best. They can help. It can help them as instructors. It can help us develop different ways of assessing our students, and instead of just doing the traditional quizzes or written papers or assignments, we can be creative and upload a video or do a presentation, whatever makes them feel comfortable. So of course, like Cranton mentioned as well, we have to be able to incorporate different types of materials depending on the activity and the lesson. But I thought that this is a creative way for students to get to know themselves, and for us as instructors to incorporate their learning styles into a productive and successful lesson. So for the student, they would be able to tell me, what is your learning style? Do you learn best through listening, through visuals, through hands-on? Do you prefer facts? Or are you a combination of both? What is your learning style? And so with this being said, I would then have the students take the quiz and tell me what they thought about it. And after that, I will also have them do the collage that will demonstrate visually who they are and how all of this ties into the persona that they are. At the end, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is a little mini lecture that you can incorporate again in your first week of class and instruction, just to better set a tone for lesson planning and instructional materials to utilize, and as well, like as an icebreaker for the classroom. We can either print and put this in your classroom, or just share them with the students. So if we have some shy students who are not that social, this would give them an opportunity to ease in. And I know, like Cranton mentioned also in our book, some students are not up for icebreakers. So I figure as the first assignment of the course, this can be creative, less stress, and overall create an open communication between the student and the teacher, and as well as their peers. So let me know what you think. Thank you.